Hello everybody and welcome back to another trip report. In today's video we'll take a look at my experience on board Turkish Airlines from Istanbul to Rome on board an A330-300. But that wasn't the plane that was supposed to take me there. Let's just say not everything went to plan. Welcome to Istanbul International Airport in Turkey. This is one of two passenger airports currently serving Istanbul. This airport was only opened in 2018 and holds the title of the largest airport terminal in the world under one roof. Now inside this beautiful terminal, the Turkish Airlines economy class check-in desks aren't exactly difficult to find. They're practically everywhere, and very well signed too. If you're not sure where your check-in is located though, you can check one of these boards. There was self-check-in and bag drop machines available, but there was also a few regular check-in desks. The check-in agents were relatively friendly. The whole process wasn't super speedy, but it didn't take too long either. The actual check-in process probably took longer than waiting in the line. Security was relatively quick. It took me around 6 or 7 minutes. And so here's Airside at Istanbul International Airport. How beautiful. There's loads of high-end shopping, duty-free, and places to get something to eat or drink. I believe it was around this time when I noticed that my plane had been swapped from an A330-300 back to an A330-200. I then set off on a bit of a plane spotting adventure. Now I didn't think much of it because I do plane spotting all the time. But this time was different because I was at Istanbul Airport. There are so many interesting airlines and planes here, and I wanted to go and see a couple of them. First on my list was this Turkmenistan Airlines Boeing 777. I didn't get the best view of it, but it was still so cool to see this plane. By this time though, I was starting to realise just how big Istanbul Airport was. The last plane that I really wanted to see was an Uzbekistan Airlines Boeing 767, which I realised was right at the end of another concourse. And let me tell you, concourses are not small at Istanbul Airport. But this Uzbekistan Airlines 767 was leaving soon, and so rather than abandoning my mission, I decided to fast walk/run almost the length of the largest airport terminal in the world. And then I got there and realised that they'd hidden the plane from being able to see from the terminal. And then I walked back to the other end of the terminal. So pro tip, don't fast walk/run almost the length of the largest airport terminal in the world to see an Uzbekistan Airlines 767 which is hidden from being able to see from the terminal. Also here's a rough idea of where I walked to and from during my journey, plus the concourse layout. I've now made it to my gate, which is unfortunately a gate where you can hardly see any of the plane. By the way, Turkish Airlines, founded in 1933, currently flies to the most countries of any airline in the world with its fleet of 353 aircraft. It's also widely considered Europe's best airline. It's now time to board. I'm not exactly sure when boarding started because the announcements were only right at the gate. The gate staff were going very quickly. They weren't unfriendly, but they were very short with their words. There's my ride to Istanbul. Tango Charlie, Juliet India Tango is a 2008 built Airbus A330-223, which was delivered new to Brazilian airline TAM before it was delivered to Turkish Airlines in 2014.
Good morning, can I help you with your boarding pass?
Sure.
Welcome on board a Turkish Airlines A330-200. This one featuring 24 business class seats in a 222 layout, followed by 255 economy class seats in a standard 242 layout. I think the seat model used in economy is probably the Weber 5750 or 5751 seat. My seat for the next 30 minutes or so will be 11k. Now for reasons you've potentially already guessed, or if not I'll explain soon, I'm not going to go through these seat features in full detail. But one thing I will note about this seat is that the legroom was surprisingly not that good. Barely better than other European airlines I've flown on. It felt to me a bit like 30 inches or so. I was kind of expecting it to be more around the 31-inch mark. Can anyone tell me why there would be what I think is an Ethernet port with the USB port?
Socialized flight from Fiumicino Airport. My name is Sardar Bayrak and I'm coming to you. Please let's check the entire flight.
Dear passengers, this captain speaking. Due to technical reasons, we need to change our aircraft. You will be follow the ground staff. Thank you.
I wasn't able to fully understand what the captain said, but for some reason we have to change planes. So after the safety video had rolled and I believe all the passengers were on board, we now need to disembark. After I disembarked, I did receive an email from Turkish Airlines about this delay. When I asked the ground staff, they said it was a technical reason for the delay. Which upon listening to my video from earlier, I think that's also what the captain said. The ground staff said it would apparently be about 30 minutes to bring the new plane to the gate. I'm not sure if it was in those exact words though, that's just what I noted down because that's not actually what happened. We were assigned a new departure time of 9 o'clock. When I asked the ground staff again, they said that we'll go to a new plane via bus. We were then delayed a further 15 minutes. I asked the gate agent if we had the same seats and he replied, maybe. I believe some people had their seats changed, but mine was still the same. By the way, there was already confusion on the A330-200 about seats because not long before the flight it was meant to be an A330-300. But at least I got to see this beautiful Mahan Air A340-200, one of only a couple still in passenger service. And I wouldn't have been able to see this had we have departed on time. I believe we started boarding the bus roughly 45 minutes after disembarking the other plane. After a fairly long bus ride and some great views over the tarmac, there's my ride to Rome. Tango Charlie Lima Oscar Foxtrot is a 2015 built Airbus A330-343, originally meant for Skymark Airlines in Japan. However, it was not taken up by Skymark and so was stored for a little bit before joining Turkish Airlines fleet in early 2017. This aircraft is equipped with two Rolls-Royce Trent 700 engines. There's good and bad things about it, but for me probably the best part about boarding via bus is when you get to get these incredible views of a wide-body plane like this A330. Is it just me, or is the A330 a plane that you see dirty more often than a lot of other planes?
Welcome on board.
Thank you.
Second right, please.
Welcome on board Turkish Airlines A330-300. This aircraft is in the regional configuration and features 40 business class seats up front in a 222 layout with, I think, Recaro CL4400 seats installed. Those seats are far from the best Turkish Airlines has to offer, but on intra-European flights where business class competition is this, it's still very good I think. Then in economy class where I'm seated today, there's 265 of what I believe to be Recaro CL3710 seats in a 242 layout. These seats are a more premium, economy class seat common on many premium airlines such as Singapore Airlines, which feature them on many of its planes including its 787-10s, shown on screen now. My seat for this flight will once again be 11K. Now let's take a quick look at the seat features. First up, legroom was about 31 inches, as I believe it was supposed to be, the same as the last flight except this time it actually felt like 31 inches. In the seat pocket there is a pair of headphones. I believe it was waiting for me on the seat along with the pillow, which by the way is something I didn't expect for a 2-hour flight, so I suspect that I just grabbed the headphones and put them in the seat back pocket, which is why they were there. But the seat back pocket also contains a safety card and a sick bag. Above that there's a bifoldable tray table. And here's a remote, which is for the personal entertainment screen above, which by the way is adjustable. And beneath the personal entertainment screen you'll find an audio port and a USB port. And on the side of the seat you'll find coat hooks. And on the aisle seats there appears to be a step which I believe is to help you put your luggage in the overhead bin. There's also some recline, which we'll check out later if I remember, as well as a universal power socket and a nice adjustable headrest, adjustable both vertically and on the sides. There's no individual adjustable air vents. By the way, some people were complaining about seats, which I imagine would be a bit annoying for the cabin crew, since it's not their fault.
Sayın yolcularımız, Türk Hava Yolları uçuşuna hoş geldiniz. Alınacak şekilde yüzünüze yerleştiriniz. Bantlı şekilde yüzünüze tam olarak kısıldınız ve normal nefes almaya devam ediniz. Diğer yolculara yardım etmek için kendi maskenizi doğru şekilde ve acil çıkış gerekli durumlarda başınıza istavritiniz. Bantları ödülü almak.
Dear passengers, good morning. Captain speaking. Welcome aboard. My name is Captain Sila. Being in command of today's flight. Our flight time to Rome is 2 hours 10 minutes.
They seem to play a separate safety video in Turkish and English. It's now time for pushback, a little more than an hour and a half late.
Enjoy your flight. Disabled passengers may refer to the specially designed safety video within the in-flight entertainment system, or simply get in touch with the flight attendants for more details.
They also had a safety video which I think was for sign language, which I think is thoughtful.
We are pleased to offer wireless internet and live TV on this flight. Start using Wi-Fi service now. Wi-Fi network. Open web browser on your seatback screen. For details, visit our homepage.
It's now time for takeoff on runway 35 left. Now that we're in the air, let's take a quick look at the IFE. The personal entertainment screen itself is quite responsive. Not the most responsive out there, but pretty good. There's a fantastic selection of movies to choose from, certainly enough for a 2-hour flight. There's also TV shows, music, a kids section, live TV, games, and an in-flight map on offer. The in-flight mapping system was a bit older, and so I don't believe it was interactive. By the way, I found the headphones to be of decent quality. I would say they're a bit above average, but not amazing. Unfortunately, I don't think my universal power socket was working, but maybe I was just doing something wrong. It's now time for the breakfast service. They seem to be not too sure about special meals because a lot of people have moved seats. Otherwise, there was only one option for breakfast, but getting any kind of meal is above standard anyway, so I wouldn't really expect that. Along with the meal, drinks were also available, including coffee, tea, water, cherry juice, orange juice, apple juice, and I think I saw Pepsi. There might have been more as well that I just didn't see. Alongside my main meal was a very warm bread roll, a Greek salad kind of thing, what I believe was a yogurt, jam and butter, which I assume was to go with the bread roll, and metal cutlery in a packet. Along with my meal, I went for a cherry juice and a tea. I was interested to try the cherry juice, since I don't think I've had it on a plane before. Unfortunately, I must have forgotten to write down notes on how this meal service tasted, so keep in mind that what I'm about to say is purely off of memory. The main meal, which seemed to be an omelette with tomato alongside some kind of spinach thing, was, I'm sorry to say, kind of bad. That's for me at least, some people might disagree. While it was edible and I didn't get food poisoning, so there could be worse meals, from memory it was barely edible. The scrambled eggs were very sloppy. It depends on how you like your eggs, really, but I found them to be way undercooked. Again, I didn't get sick from them, so it's not a worry from that point of view, but I just did not enjoy it. And the spinach thing was just bland. But from memory, the sides were pretty standard and not bad. In the cutlery pack, along with the metal cutlery, there was also salt, pepper, and a refreshing towelette. I don't really remember much about the tea, but I remember really liking the cherry juice. Here's a quick look at Turkish Airlines Wi-Fi portal. There's free messaging available for Miles and Smiles members, otherwise it's available for purchase at a reasonable price. I wasn't able to get the free messaging working for some reason, maybe because I didn't put my Miles and Smiles number in the booking. And here's a quick look at the lavatory. It was very basic. There wasn't that much space for a wide body, but it wasn't horrible. By the way, the recline is decent. The seat moves forward when reclined.
Dear passengers, this captain speaking. Now we start to descend at Rome Airport. We will land to landing in 40 minutes. Below, the sky is clear and the temperature is 22 degrees Celsius.
As we are descending, make sure that your hand luggage is stowed in the overhead bins or under the seat in front of you.
As we descend into Rome, allow me to conclude my experience flying on Turkish Airlines. Or if you're not interested, feel free to skip to the next chapter. My journey with Turkish Airlines today started at Istanbul Airport, where check-in was pretty good. I found Istanbul Airport to be a great airport, but walking distances can be long, and from memory, free Wi-Fi is limited to 1 hour. Having to disembark the aircraft due to technical problems wasn't ideal, but these things happen. And of course, safety first. The way Turkish Airlines handled the delay was pretty good, for the most part. I thought they did a really good job of getting a replacement aircraft ready quite quickly. But while it wasn't bad, communication could be improved upon. Some seats having to be changed did cause some minor problems as well. I personally preferred the seat features on the A330-300 that we ended up flying on. Legroom was slightly better. It was also a more modern seat, which has pros and cons. It has a remote instead of audio entertainment, but no leg rest, which at least means more space to store bags under the seat. But what the A330-300 didn't have was an Ethernet port, which was disappointing, but I survived. Having the pillow waiting on the seat was a nice touch, and it was made of a really nice soft fabric. The IFE screen was overall great, especially for a short-haul flight. I found the meal service to be both a strong point and a weak point. On one hand, it's very impressive that you get served a full hot meal in economy class, and with metal cutlery too. But it was a real shame how not good the main meal was. But even without the main meal, the sides and drinks are still impressive for a 2-hour intra-European flight. The cabin crew were pretty friendly, though they seemed busy, which makes sense. By the way, the cabin temperature was a little warm for my liking, and that might not have been the case for anyone else, I don't know. Overall, I had a mixed but good experience with Turkish Airlines. With that being said though, I do still think they would probably be one of, if not Europe's best airline. I suspect Turkish Airlines is often better than what I experienced, but even still, my flight was the best service of all the intra-European flights I took during this trip. Overall, I would still recommend Turkish Airlines and look forward to hopefully flying them again in the future. Also, despite the last minute plane swap, at least I got my bags at the other end. Now enjoy the rest of the approach and landing on Leonardo da Vinci Rome Fiumicino Airport's runway 16 left. By the way, you may have noticed I did a little bit of a different style in this video, because I do read your feedback and take it into consideration. I would really appreciate it if you let me know what you thought of this style in the comment section below. As we disembark, I'd like to thank you all so much for watching today's video. A like and subscription if you enjoyed would help me and the channel out a lot, and I would really appreciate it, but if you don't want to, that's okay too. I posted updates of this trip on my Instagram at aviation763_, so feel free to check that out as well if you'd like. Last but most certainly not least, thank you to all of my incredible Patreons for helping to make these videos possible. Their support truly means so much to me, and I couldn't do what I do without them, so thank you so much to them. Once again, I'd like to thank you all so much for watching. I hope you have an amazing day, and look forward to hopefully seeing you in my next one next Saturday at 5 PM Melbourne time.